If you are over 60 and you take a blood pressure pill every morning, stop, not the pill. Stop and listen to this first. Because a 2024 meta-analysis published in Sports Medicine reviewed 30 clinical trials and found that a specific 10-minute exercise routine reduced systolic blood pressure by an average of 8 to 13 points. That is the same range that many first-line blood pressure medications target. And almost no man over 60 in Florida is doing this routine. Most men believe that once the doctor prescribes a pill, the pill is the answer. And I understand why they believe that. That is what they have been told. But here is what the latest research is now challenging. Medication manages the number. It does not fix the mechanism causing the number. I am Dr. Daniel Petron. After decades in cardiac care, I have seen thousands of men manage their readings on paper, while the underlying problem kept getting worse. Today, I want to show you the 3 physical mechanisms actually driving your blood pressure after 60 and a 10-minute morning routine that targets all 3 at the same time. Stay with me, because what I am about to share already surprises most men the first time they hear it. This video is for educational purposes only. Please speak with your doctor before making any changes to your health or routine. Now, I want to tell you about a 71-year-old man, a retired electrician from Sarasota, Florida. He was not sick. He was not weak. Well, he had spent 38 years running wire through new construction, crawling through attics in the Florida heat, climbing ladders until his knees made him stop. He was proud of that. When he retired, his doctor found his blood pressure at 144/90. Nothing dramatic, the doctor said. Start with medication. Watch your salt. Walk more. So Raymond did exactly that. He took his lisinopril every morning without fail. He switched to low sodium everything. He walked the neighborhood every evening, even in the August humidity. 18 months later, his blood pressure was 149/93, higher than when he started. He sat in my office and said, I am doing everything they told me to do. I take the pill. I watch what I eat. I walk every single day. Oh, so why is it still going up? And that question is exactly the right question. Because what Raymond was missing was not effort. What he was missing was an understanding of what was physically happening inside his arteries. Once he understood that, everything changed. He started the 10-minute routine I'm going to share with you today. 2 weeks later, his reading was 137/85. The first time it had been below 140 in 4 years. He was not an isolated case. He is the rule. Before we go any further, drop a comment right now with just one word. If you're over 60 and your blood pressure keeps climbing, even though you're doing everything your doctor told you, type the word Sarasota in the comments right now. I read every single one. And that word tells me something very specific about what may be happening inside your arteries today. One more thing. From all the comments on this video, we are going to personally select 5 men. 5 men who will receive a complete personalized health plan built specifically for their condition. Diet, exercise, daily routine, all of it, completely free. So when you drop your keyword, add one line about your biggest health struggle right now. That one line is your entry. This information comes from Sports Medicine, 2024, a meta-analysis of 30 trials on isometric exercise and blood pressure. Frontiers in Physiology, 2023, a scoping review on breathing and hypertension. International Journal of Cardiology, 2023, a meta-analysis of 15 breathing trials. JAMA Network Open, 2024, a randomized trial comparing Tai Chi to aerobic exercise. Hypertension Research, 2024, dietary magnesium and blood pressure prevalence. Journal of Clinical Hypertension, 2023. an isometric wall squat trial in hypertensive adults. If this kind of research-backed information matters to you, subscribe to this channel. Every single week, real research, plain language, no complicated terms. Just what actually matters to you. Now, let me take you inside what is actually happening. Because this is where most health videos leave you guessing. They give you the what. They never give you the why. And without the why, the routine feels like one more thing to try before it stops working too. There are 3 physical mechanisms driving blood pressure in men over 60. Each one is separate. Each one is real. And each one requires a specific kind of response. The first mechanism is arterial stiffness. Most men believe blood pressure is about what goes into the body. Too much salt, too much fat, too much stress. And those things do contribute. But after 60, something structural happens that no amount of salt restriction can fully reverse. The elastic fibers inside your arterial walls begin to stiffen. Think of it like the water pipes running through a Florida home built in the 1970s. When those pipes were new, they flexed slightly with every surge of water pressure. The force distributed evenly, gradually. But after 50 years of Florida heat and mineral buildup, those pipes become rigid. The same surge of water now creates a sharp spike in pressure. That is what is happening inside your arteries right now. Your heart has not changed. It is pushing the same volume of blood it always did. But the walls it is pushing against are no longer absorbing that force the way they once did. And so the number on your cuff goes up. A 2024 meta-analysis in sports medicine examined 30 clinical trials involving men and women with hypertension. Average age, approximately 60 years. The finding was clear. Isometric resistance training, meaning holding a static position like a wall sit or a plank, produced reductions in systolic blood pressure, superior to aerobic exercise and dynamic resistance training. Not equal. Superior. Here is why that matters. When you hold a wall sit, the leg muscles create temporary compression on the blood vessels. Blood flow is mildly restricted. Then, when you release the position, fresh blood rushes back through the arterial walls. This creates a training stimulus. The vessels begin to adapt. They become more responsive, more elastic. A 2023 randomized controlled trial, published in the Journal of Clinical Hypertension, tested this in men with hypertension over 12 weeks. The wall squat group reduced systolic blood pressure by 12.9 millimeters of mercury, with only 42 minutes of total training per week. Let me say that another way. 6 minutes per day of wall sits and planks produced the kind of blood pressure reduction many men spend years trying to achieve with medication alone. Your arteries are not done adapting. The stiffness that built up over decades can be partially reversed, but it requires the right stimulus. Well, no, not a longer walk, a specific static hold. Now the second mechanism is one that most men have never once been told about, especially men who spend decades working hard in Florida heat. The second mechanism is chronic nervous system activation. Most men over 60 are running their nervous systems at a low but constant level of tension. Not panic, not anxiety, just a background hum of alertness that never fully switches off. After a career, after raising a family, after years of problem solving, the body learned to stay ready. And that state of readiness keeps the blood vessels slightly contracted. Think of it like a dimmer switch that someone turned up 20 years ago and forgot to turn back down. The light is not blinding, but it is never dark either. And slightly contracted vessels mean higher resting pressure every single hour of every single day. A 2023 scoping review in Frontiers in Physiology confirmed that deep breathing at 6 to 10 breaths per minute raises parasympathetic activity in hypertensive patients and lowers both systolic and diastolic blood pressure. A separate 2023 meta-analysis published in the International Journal of Cardiology reviewed 15 randomized clinical trials and found that breathing exercises produced a significant reduction of 7.06 millimeters in systolic blood pressure and 3.43 millimeters in diastolic blood pressure. Most people believe breathing is something the body just handles automatically. And that is exactly what the research is now challenging. In intentional slow breathing, 5 seconds in through the nose, 5 seconds out through the mouth. Activates specific stretch receptors in the aortic arch and the carotid arteries. Those receptors send a direct signal to the brainstem. The signal says the system is calm. Reduce the vascular tone, and the vessels respond. 2 minutes of this breathing, done sitting upright in a quiet room, is enough to begin shifting your nervous system out of that background tension. Raymond told me, the first morning I did it, something felt different, like pressure I didn't even know I was carrying, just released. That release is real, it is measurable, and it happens faster than most men expect. Now, the third mechanism is the one that surprises almost every man I have worked with. The third mechanism is blood volume and mild dehydration. Have you noticed you are not as thirsty as you used to be? That is not just aging. After 60, the thirst mechanism in the brain becomes less sensitive. Research confirms that a significant portion of older men are chronically mildly dehydrated without ever feeling thirsty. And mild dehydration changes how the body manages blood pressure. When blood volume drops slightly, the body does something automatic. It signals the blood vessels to tighten, to maintain enough pressure to reach every organ. Think of it like the irrigation system on a Florida lawn in August. If the water tank is only 80% full, the system squeezes the pressure at the valves to keep the spray reaching the far corners of the yard. That squeeze is your vascular system. That squeeze is reflected in your numbers. The fix is not dramatic. It is not a special drink. It is 450 to 500 milliliters of water, taken in slow, small sips over 2 minutes, immediately after the breathing step. Not gulped, not rushed, slow and steady. This maintains blood volume at a level where the body does not need to compensate with increased vascular pressure. And because it follows the breathing step, the nervous system is already relaxed, making the hydration even more effective. 3 mechanisms, 3 steps: arterial stiffness, nervous system tension, blood volume, each one targeted, in order, every morning, in 10 minutes. Now, here's a quick self-check before we get to the plan. 3 questions, yes or no. Question 1. Has your blood pressure stayed elevated or increased, even while taking medication or watching your diet? Question 2. Do you wake up tense or feel a persistent low-level alertness, even when nothing specific is stressing you? Question 3. Do you regularly go 3 or more hours during the day without drinking any water? If you answered yes to even one of those questions, the fix is already in this video. Write your answers down. Bring them to your next doctor's appointment. Now for natural food support. The first food is beetroot juice. 1 glass of fresh beetroot juice, approximately 250 milliliters, contains high concentrations of dietary nitrates. The body converts those nitrates into nitric oxide, a molecule that signals the smooth muscle in your arterial walls to relax and dilate. A 2022 systematic review in PMC confirmed that nitrate from beetroot juice lowers systolic blood pressure in patients with arterial hypertension. 1 glass each morning alongside this routine compounds the arterial effect. The second food is spinach. 1 cup of raw spinach, or half a cup cooked, provides a meaningful amount of both magnesium and dietary nitrates. A 2024 paper in hypertension research confirmed that individuals with the highest dietary magnesium intake showed a 34% lower prevalence of hypertension compared to those with the lowest intake, 34% lower. Magnesium works like a dimmer switch on your vascular tone, not a sudden change. A slow, steady reduction in the tension your vessels carry all day. Add spinach to your morning eggs. Add it to a smoothie. 1 cup raw is all it takes. The third food is blueberries. Florida has some of the best blueberry season in the country, and there is a reason to take advantage of it. 1 cup of fresh or frozen blueberries contains high concentrations of anthocyanins, plant compounds that support the inner lining of your blood vessels. That lining is called the endothelium. It controls how your vessels expand and contract. When it is healthy, vessels flex the way they should. When it is damaged, pressure builds. Blueberries are one of the most researched foods for protecting and restoring endothelial function. The fourth food is oats. 1 cup of cooked oats every morning provides soluble fiber that feeds specific gut bacteria. Those bacteria produce short-chain fatty acids, which have been shown to reduce blood pressure through a mechanism completely separate from sodium. Not the same pathway, an additional pathway. 1 cup every morning. Your Florida Sunshine breakfast already works. Now it works harder. Now for what I promised you at the beginning. For thousands of years, men in China developed specific movement practices designed to calm the nervous system, open circulation, and reduce internal pressure throughout the body. Modern research now confirms what they understood for generations. A 2024 randomized clinical trial published in JAMA Network Open followed patients with pre-hypertension for 12 months. The Tai Chi group showed greater reduction in systolic blood pressure than the aerobic exercise group. Greater. And a 2024 overview published in the Journal of Clinical Hypertension analyzed 39 systematic reviews, covering both Western and Chinese exercise approaches. The conclusion was this: Chinese exercise practices, including Tai Chi and Qigong, produce clinically meaningful blood pressure reductions across both stage 1 and stage 2 hypertension patients. Here are 3 specific movements to begin tonight. The first movement is called Wuji standing. Stand barefoot on your Florida lanai or living room floor, feet shoulder width apart. Let your arms hang loosely at your sides. Soften your knees slightly. Close your eyes. Breathe slowly. 5 seconds in. 5 seconds out. Hold this position for 2 minutes. This looks like nothing is happening. But internally, the parasympathetic nervous system is being activated. The brain is receiving the signal. You are safe. The vessels are beginning to release the resting tension. The second movement is called pushing heaven and earth. Stand softly. Inhale slowly for 5 seconds. As you inhale, raise both hands gently above your head, palms facing toward the ceiling. Pause briefly at the top. As you exhale for 5 seconds, lower both hands slowly, palms facing toward the floor. Pause briefly at the bottom. Repeat this 8 to 10 times. This movement coordinates breathing rhythm with gentle circulation. It activates the baroreceptors in the chest and aorta, reinforcing the pressure-lowering signal already started by Wuji standing. The third movement is called kidney patting. Stand comfortably. Make loose, relaxed fists with both hands. Using the back of your hands, gently but firmly pat the area of your lower back on both sides of the spine. 60 to 90 taps. Traditional Chinese medicine has long used this practice to support kidney function and blood circulation. Early modern research suggests it stimulates the parasympathetic nervous system through activation of the lower back tissues and sacral nerve pathways, producing a measurable calming effect on vascular tone. All 3 movements together take 8 minutes. Do them on your lanai in the morning or in your living room before the day begins. No equipment, no cost, no difficulty. You now know something that most men over 60 in Florida have never been told. Medication manages the number, but the mechanisms driving the number respond to something different. Something you can do yourself. Every morning in 10 minutes, starting tomorrow. Drop the word Sarasota in the comments right now if this gave you something you're going to act on. And share this with a man over 60 in your life here in Florida who is taking his pill every morning, watching his numbers stay high and wondering why nothing is changing. That share could genuinely change something for him. We're still choosing those 5 men. 5 men who will get their complete plan, built around their exact condition. If you have not commented yet, now is the time. Your keyword. One line about your struggle. That is all it takes. Now here are the steps that actually change things. Step 1. Every morning, 2 minutes of Wuji standing. Feet apart, eyes closed. 5 seconds in, 5 seconds out. Before anything else. Before coffee. Before your phone. Step 2. Immediately after, 6 minutes of isometric exercise. 2 minutes wall sit, 2 minutes plank, 2 minutes wall sit again. Hold steady, breathe normally throughout. If you are just starting, begin with 30 seconds each and build up over 2 weeks. Step 3. Follow immediately with 2 minutes of controlled breathing. Sitting upright in a chair. 5 seconds in through the nose. 5 seconds out through the mouth. 12 full breath cycles. Step 4. Sip 450 milliliters of water slowly, over 2 minutes. Small sips, not gulped. Room temperature is fine. Step 5. Add one of the 4 foods to your breakfast today. Beetroot juice, spinach, blueberries, or oats. 1 serving. Every morning. Step 6. Each evening before bed. All 3 movements together. Wuji standing, pushing heaven and earth, kidney patting. 8 minutes on your lanai. Before the 11 o'clock news, give it 2 weeks. The research says that is when the difference becomes measurable. If you want more research-backed health information, in plain language, no complicated terms, explore the other videos on this channel and subscribe so you never miss one. Every single video is built the same way. Real research, real results, plain language. In the next video, I am going to show you how arterial stiffness quietly affects your sleep quality after 60. And one habit that millions of Florida men do every night before bed that makes arterial stiffness measurably worse by morning. You are going to want to see that. Everything in this video is for educational purposes only and is not a substitute for professional medical advice. If you are experiencing symptoms related to high blood pressure, including persistent headaches, dizziness, vision changes, chest discomfort, or shortness of breath, please speak with a qualified health professional as soon as possible. Never stop or change your medications without first discussing it with your healthcare provider.